Welcome to the Saints Happy Hour podcast featuring Dave Cariello, Andrew Juge, Ralph Malbrough, and when he decides to show up, Kevin Held. We are the perfect blend of Saints sincerity and stupidity.
Oh, now that's a good question. That is a damn good question. You see, Ralph, that's why you're the host.
That is a good question by me. Usually I just stumble over it and you say, is there a question in there? And I'm like, not really.
And now, here's your host, Ralph Malbrough.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Saints Happy Hour podcast.
That might be my new favorite opening.
Kevin, it was like 1991 all over again. The Saints won a football game and didn't score a touchdown. The only thing that was missing was Jim Moore on the sidelines and people saying cha-ching in the stands, baby. Saints beat Dallas 12-10.
I think Jim Moore actually was on the sidelines at that game.
Yeah, that's true.
Last night.
I think he was coaching.
Dave, how was the atmosphere? They had a panic attack that people thought that it was going to be like 50% Dallas fans. It ended up being like 10%, which is fine. But how was the atmosphere?
Well, you tweeted that out. You said ESPN said that. Now,
they did. Matt Hasselbeck said it was going to be 51% Dallas fans. I was like, what the fuck?
Can we talk about this? Where is he getting this number from? He's just pulling this number out of his ass.
It was a marketing firm that tweeted it that like monitors the secondary ticket market or whatever. They just clearly pulled that stat out of their ass to get attention, and Matt Hasselbeck noticed it, ESPN noticed it, so I thought it was legitimate when I really should have thought it was bullshit, because if the Cowboys couldn't get 40% of the Rams playoff game last year, they sure as hell weren't going to get 50% of the Superdome.
Right. Well, look, it certainly, those numbers did not bear out in any way, shape, or form. But I will say, just like the Houston game in Week 1, it wasn't. There were a lot of Cowboys fans, and they weren't just relegated to that certain corner of the end zone where they usually are. I mean, they were sprinkled in throughout. It seemed like the lower bowl, but obviously
like Tony Satcheries.
Yeah, all throughout, and they were noticeably loud, and they cheered when the Cowboys did well. When Amari Cooper caught a pass, you'd hear them all say "Coop." But I mean, that being said, it was
so
still
different from when the Cowboys usually play.
Right. But so that being said, though, the Dome was still loud as far as the Saints are concerned, and our fans. And I mean, we were in it the whole time, and I'm proud of all the fans there. They were loud the whole time, and they were loud on all of the crucial plays, for sure. And obviously, it was because most of us were hammered. But I am a little nervous. Like, I don't know if this is like a new thing where, like, I don't know if I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's because it's just we played two teams from Texas, and so
I think
it's easy
that's
to travel
part
here.
of it. In the secondary market, national teams, their fans are going to get tickets. The Steelers, the Cowboys, the Packers.
But I understand that logic. But Houston does not fall in that category, in my opinion. Like, I listened to Josh Innes in Houston or whatever, and he's always complaining about how like people are so apathetic about the Cowboys.
Oh, you mean the Texans?
Compared to, like,
Yeah, but
compared.
Sorry,
the Texans.
Cowboys, though. There's two things about the Texans. Number one, it was Monday night, so a lot of Saints fans maybe had work and didn't want to go. And number two, Houston is drivable.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, if you book ahead of time, you can go for $150. I mean, I do it 4 times a year for Saints games. If you get the schedule and you're like, okay, these are the games I'm going to go to, you can fly on Southwest for $150. Kevin, if I wanted to fly high in the bedroom, what would I use?
Ah, shit. I didn't know we were doing those. Okay, hang on.
Oh, come on.
Kevin, always prepared.
Come on, Kevin.
Let's see. Hang on. Scrolling. Gotta keep on
Worst idea I've
scrolling.
ever heard in my life, Tom.
Yes, it's horrible, this idea.
This is going well.
It is.
You should have done that jump to conclusions, Matt, soundbite, to be honest, because that would have
that one's nice and long.
To conclusions, Matt. You see, it would be this Matt that you would put on the floor and would have different conclusions written on it that you could jump to.
Yes. We are.
Hey, guys.
There you go.
Remember the days when you were always ready to go? You want to increase your performance and get that extra confidence in bed? Well, listen up. BlueChew.com. That's blue, like the color. Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients like Viagra and Cialis, so you know it works. Unlike those Dallas Cowboys jorts. You can take them anytime, day or night, on a full stomach or empty. Since they're chewable, they work up to twice as fast as a pill, so you can be ready whenever an opportunity arises. You know, like the Saints winning a nail-biting game on a Sunday night. Right after the game ends, you want to, go to Pound Town. If you could benefit from extra function and more confidence where it counts, Blue Chew is the fast and easy way to enhance your performance. Most guys talk a good game, but Blue Chew helps your follow through. Blue Chew is prescribed online and shipped straight to your door in a discreet package. So there's no in-person doctor's visit, no waiting in the pharmacy, and best of all, no more awkwardness. Made in the US of A, and since Blue Chew prepares and ships direct, it's cheaper than a pharmacy. Right now, we've got a special deal for our listeners. Just visit BlueChew.com and get your first shipment for free when you use our special promo code ARMCHAIR. Just pay $5 for shipping. Again, that's Blue Chew, BlueChew.com, promo code ARMCHAIR to try it for free. Blue Chew. It's the better, cheaper, faster choice. And we thank them for sponsoring this shit show podcast.
Do you think
Do they
Jerry Jones
pay
uses? Do you think Jerry Jones uses Blue Chew and then washes it down with Johnny Walker Blue? So, Dave, this Saints performance, I have to say, it's got to be the best Sean Payton defensive performance ever, right? I mean, we can't. I couldn't think of one. I mean, you could think of defensive plays that were bigger and more fun or whatever, but like from start to finish, this was just magnificent. I can't think of a better.
Especially since they were playing a top 5 scoring offense.
Yeah, there's Andrew.
Well, they were a top 5 scoring offense because they played 3 winless teams prior to that.
Yeah.
Which leads us to why the Saints won, because and leads us to your GIF, Ralph. The Cowboys are a fraud.
It was such a good choice by me.
We exposed them, and it's over for them. It's totally over for them. No, but I mean,
seriously though, hold on. Let's bask in the glory. How the hell did the Saints win that game?
I don't know. I thought, when Bridgewater got sacked and got knocked out of field goal range, which I mean,
yes,
I was like,
the worst idea I've ever heard in my life, Tom.
Like how many times have they lost that game?
This idea.
Like that exact situation happening. Like it's 99 percentile.
Well, I didn't even. I wanted them to go for it.
I thought when Dak completed the one pass on the last drive, the dude was going up the seam for like a split second. I was like, he's going to score, and I'm going to break my TV.
You talking about that pass, like to the 48 or whatever?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, like I saw Lattimore dive and like miss him, and I'm like, oh god, here he goes. And Marcus Williams. I mean, good tackle there, but I mean, he really saved the game there.
No, but I wanted the Saints to get the touchdown on that last drive. I was thinking, like, fuck a field goal. Like, a field goal is only going to put them ahead by 4 points. Like, we're going to give up a touchdown.
Dave, we were hoping for a touchdown the whole game.
No, I know, but then, more than ever, we really needed a touchdown there.
We were waiting for that thing to come.
Yeah, even a field goal would have been nice, but Bridgewater taking a sack out of field goal range, that certainly wasn't.
And how about Zeke,
case
man?
scenario.
How about Zeke? 18 carries, 35 yards? Are you kidding me?
Here's the thing, Kevin.
No, has Rankins just transformed this defense? He just comes in here and changes everything.
Well, Kevin, here's the thing. You know, me and you are known on this podcast as we are serious football analytical people. Dave and Andrew are the jokesters and the comedy. Me and you, we eat the tape. And me and you know that Dallas is all about, like, how the fuck could Dallas not know to throw the tight end down the seam and go deep against the Saints? They didn't do it the whole game. And I kept waiting for them to do it. They never did. All Jason Garrett did was stand there and clap the whole game. Like, I know that he's not a great coach, but Kevin, were you surprised? I was stunned that Dallas didn't come out in the second half and start chucking the ball all over the place.
You know what? I am not going to question the genius of Mr. Garrett.
The genius ginger.
I believe he went to an Ivy League college, and
Yes.
I will not question the man's education.
What school did he go to?
Princeton.
Really?
Former Saints quarterback Jason Garrett. Yes.
I didn't know he
There's
went
probably
to
like 4 people that know that. Andrew, did you know that? That Jason Garrett was a Saints quarterback?
No.
Yes.
Is that a fact?
That is a fact. I don't think he ever was on. He was it for the Saints in the preseason a bunch, but I don't know that he was ever on the regular roster. But he
When
a
was
Saints-
this? Like, who was this? Who was the starter back then?
I mean, it would have been like Abear.
Was he behind Abear?
It would have been like Abear. It would have been like end stage Abear, Wade Wilson.
Because I
Jim
remember
Everett
him.
year.
He backed up Aikman, didn't he? At
Yeah, he
Dallas?
backed up Aikman. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I never remember him on the Saints roster. No.
He had like one good game on a Thanksgiving one time. Jason Skook says Jason Garrett was waking up so many Tinkerbells.
Garrett was signed as an undrafted free agent by the New Orleans Saints after the 1989 NFL Draft and was eventually signed to the practice squad. On September 3rd, 1990, he was waived by the Saints and spent most of the year working as a coaching assistant for Princeton.
I can't remember my wife's birthday, but I can remember that. Andrew, the more I think about it, the shutting down of Ezekiel Elliott, it might be the finest run defense performance I've ever seen the Saints do. I'm sure there's better ones.
You'll remember when the Saints went 13-3 last year and were an awesome team. They really hung their hat on stopping the run. And defensively, the way they got to 13-3, especially later in the year when, frankly, I mean, you know, we're talking about how crazy this game was and how weird it was to have no offense. But that's kind of how the Saints were winning at the end of the year last year. I mean, remember when they went to Carolina and won that awful game? It was like 12-9 or so. It was terrible. And it was it was exactly like this, but it was just like that's how this defense was playing when they went 13-3, and that's how they were winning those games at the end of last year when the offense couldn't do anything because it was only Thomas and Kamara and no one else doing anything, and the defense just stuffing the run. And so, yeah, maybe you're going to make a play here and there in the passing game against them, but you know, you're facing 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7 every time, and it's tough to move the chain. So, and that's what we were talking about earlier this year. Like, where is Lattimore? Where is the pass rush? Where is the linebacker play? And I feel like finally this was the first time they stepped up to the plate and played like we know they can for 4 quarters.
I mean,
because we got about 3.5 quarters of it in Seattle.
I mean, there was a lot of garbage yards in Seattle, but
yeah,
they gave up. But, and I'll start with you, Dave. The defense, the thing that surprised me the most was the way the secondary held up. I knew the run defense would be really good. It was even better than I dreamed it could be. I didn't think they'd hold them to 2 yards a carry. But I was surprised the secondary held up because the first 3 games of the year, the secondary hasn't held up, even though they were 2-1. What was the biggest surprise for you on defense?
Oh man, that's a good question. I guess what was crucial is those turnovers. And not that it was surprising that the Saints could get them, but I feel like we're getting a little bit of that 2009 turnover mojo. We're getting a little bit of that back, and we're coming up with big plays when we need them. But no, I mean the AJ Klein, that was a beautiful play. I mean that was everything about that was intentional.
Talk about the punch out.
Yeah. I mean, that was totally 100% intentional, and that wasn't an accident by any means. I think the Saints got lucky on they didn't have a definitive camera angle, I guess, on the second fumble. I think we got the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, he was down. He was down there. He was down.
But either way, we'll take it. So I mean, as long as we're winning the turnover battle, that's going to be a big help with Bridgewater under center.
Kevin, I know you hate the Steelers most of all, and I love that the Saints beat Dallas because I'm in Houston, and even though Houston is supposedly a Texans town, they do have a crap ton of Cowboys fans, so my day at work today was just lovely. But I was disappointed that I didn't get a lot of sad shots of plastic-faced, fish-eyed Jerry Jones last night on the broadcast. I felt like NBC deprived me of that. But how fulfilling for you was to beat Dallas? I know it's not the Falcons and all, but where does beating Dallas rank on the Kevin hatred/enjoyment scale?
Oh, I mean, Dallas is always close to being in that top five. Like sometimes they're in the top five, sometimes they're not. They'll slide in and out. I should probably have rephrased that, but
Blue Chew.
they'll
Coming back full circle.
They'll make an occasional appearance on that list. Yeah, I enjoyed it very much. Man, especially after seeing the video of the Cowboys fans dancing, like having like some weird second line or.
That's
wearing
what do you mean? That's what it's called. It's the second line.
Yeah, well, I didn't know if there was
I don't know if you can call it that when the Cowboys fans do it though.
But
it was an abomination.
They had some
that's what it was.
Fucking funeral march, and everybody was making a big deal about it. And yeah, that's you were really tempting fate there, and the Cowboys fans, with their fucking jorts and their cell phones clipped to their belt buckles and their pagers and their goddamn white sneakers. Yeah, they can, they're more than welcome to come back anytime they want and dance like goofballs and, hand over them tourist dollars for a cup of alligator gumbo. But the second the game's over and the second they get that L hung on them, they can check their pager and get their cab ride the fuck out of town.
All right. First of all, I don't think anybody takes cabs anymore. I think it's Uber. Second of all, I don't know if there is such a thing as alligator gumbo. I'm not sure I've ever had that. And then third of all, actually, what I really enjoyed even more than the Saints beating the Cowboys, as delicious as that was, is really I'm really just really enjoying drinking in the Falcon fan tears. They are just they're a fucking disaster over there in Atlanta.
Just to make it 28-3. Bryant knocks it through. Arthur Blank loving it. Up by 20.
They had a post on the Falcons Reddit board, and they were like, the fucking Saints, they lose Drew Brees, and they still keep winning because they have a great coach, and meanwhile, we are a fucking disaster. And like they were like finally admitting to it. It was hilarious.
Andrew, tell the people what you do on Twitter when Atlanta's losing.
Oh, you mean follow the Falcoholic?
Yeah. You follow all the Atlanta people and drink in their tears, and when they're winning, you just mute them all.
Yeah, I just unfollow. So, I know the Falcoholic. When things are looking bad for the Falcoholic, I'll just go on Twitter and be like, all right, time to refollow these guys. And so I'll just read like their depressing tweets, and then I'll click on them and just read all the comments. It's all these Falcons fans. I just can't get enough. I don't know. It's the most therapeutic thing in the world. It makes me feel so good about myself.
It's better than a bump of Coke.
It really, I mean, it is. I snort these tweets, actually. That's what I do. I snort them.
Dan Quinn's getting fired after the Texans beat him Sunday. Just so you
Is
know.
that who they're playing this Sunday?
Yes. They're playing at the Texans. They're 5-point underdog.
Texans look pretty bad, though, against the
God,
Panthers.
the fucking Texans didn't do us any favors.
You know what the weirdest thing is? Cam Newton's out, and which actually doesn't surprise me that much because he's terrible. But the Panthers are also 2-0 without their starting
Yeah, their
quarterback.
plan is they gave the ball to McCaffrey 38 times.
yeah.
And they scored
God,
They don't
6.
have
is that guy
McCaffrey there.
injured yet? God.
No, not yet.
No.
But
When
here's
he
an
is
interest-
injured, that's it. Game over for the Panthers.
Here's an interesting thought that I had.
I mean, you
Dave.
could say the same about us and Camaro, though.
Yeah, but 20 touches and 37 that's a big fucking difference.
Well, maybe we should be giving the ball to Camaro 37 times.
No.
No, thank you.
They need. I was trying to figure out what
That's what you
running
were supposed
back.
to play the new clip. That's a terrible idea. You blew it. You fucking
I blew it. It's never
This
too
is the
late.
worst idea I've ever heard in my life, Tom.
Yes, it's horrible, this idea.
But I was trying to think between trying to produce this show at a semi-competent level, which I fail every single week. I was trying to think of a running back that Latavius Murray reminds me of that the Saints have had that isn't necessarily a disaster, but frustrates me to no end. And I couldn't really think of anyone from Hazlitt to Sean Payton. I was maybe like Vaughn Dunbar, but that's really old, and probably only 6 people in the chat remember that name. Does either any of you, can you think of a running back?
I think Von Dunbar actually just fumbled. Breaking news.
He ran into the back of his own lineman and fumbled.
That guy was a king of fumbles.
Dave, watching Lattimore last night, it made me think he is going to be one of the most polarizing and frustrating signings the Saints are ever going to have to do. I'm petrified to give him $100 million, and I'll be petrified to watch him leave and sign somewhere else for $100 million. Because when he's good, God, the defense can be amazing.
I want to keep him here. I don't want to see him go. I think he's more good than he is bad.
Yeah, but he's gonna want top. He's gonna want top 5 corner money. You paying him that?
I mean, that's the thing is he may want that, but he's not going to get that if he
will on the open market.
If he continues to show inconsistency, I don't know. I mean, if he keeps playing like he played yesterday, and
Dave, do I need to read you the money that the free agent corners are getting this year?
I understand that. I know that they get.
Who's that corner that the Jets gave like $70 million to from the Rams that the Saints tried to trade for? It's a total disaster. I can't think of his name. Need you forget system corner, Dave?
How did that work out?
Or what is that?
That's
the quarterback?
beside the point, though. The point
Josh
is,
Norman.
look how much money he got.
I mean,
well, it's not, because if somebody pays him a whole bunch of money and he's and he's not anywhere near the player he once was, then we win. I don't consider.
That's true.
About that. I don't give a shit about that scenario.
You don't remember the days of the Saints having a quarterbacks not named Marshawn Lattimore, though? Do you remember what that looked like?
I do, but I mean, you can't. I think currently, I guess
You're
point,
a walking contradiction, Dave.
No. I think what I'm saying. I think my point is that currently, I think out of all the people that need to get paid, you're talking about Kamara now and Lattimore and I don't know. I guess Ramczyk. I think Lattimore is the odd man out currently.
Well, no, I would say Ramczyk
Hey,
and
Dave,
Lattimore.
Have you heard of Kareem Jackson? Have you heard of him?
He was
You heard of Kareem Jackson? 3 years, $33 million. You heard of Justin Coleman, Dave? Does that name ring a bell? 4 years, $36 million.
I understand. I'm not arguing that he's not going to command a lot of money, but
Landon Collins, he's
Yeah,
a safety.
I know.
6 years, $84 million.
That's the Redskins, though. They don't count. They're as responsible with money as I am. They don't
heard
count.
of the corpse of Earl Thomas? 4 years, $55 million. LaMarcus Joyner, 4 years, $42 million. Basically, if you had one good season, you get $10 million a year if you're a defensive back.
Kevin, I haven't heard that many bad financial decisions read in such a short period of time since you went over a credit card bill.
Brother, those are facts, man. And the sad thing is most of my unlike a lot of fucking NFL GMs, is I've learned from a lot of my mistakes. Granted, I'm still, poor and living paycheck to paycheck, but man, NFL GMs, these motherfuckers just keep handing out bad deals.
Yeah, to piggyback off what Skooks just said in the chat room, it's all fun and games until Ken Crawley sees the field.
Wait, I wanted to get an update and find out whether.
All
Kevin
right,
had
that's
any
sealed
other
it.
strange-
Me and his money.
I wanted to find out whether Kevin had any strange women in his house recently, or whether that was just an isolated occurrence.
No, that has thus far been an isolated occurrence. Thank Jesus.
That's too bad.
Here's
brother.
I was kind of hoping Monday night at Kevin's would be a thing.
I tell you what, Juge, you get home from tennis one night and have some strange motherfucker just come waltzing into your house and giving you some glass-eyed look and telling you that they're there for you. Brother, you'll be reaching for that tennis racket pronto.
Oh, yeah.
Is the tennis racket, is it the old school wood kind, Andrew, where you can break it off and it can be sharp, or is it the plastic graphite kind? How are you going to fashion that into a weapon to defend yourself?
I have both, but I'll just let my 12-pound dog do the dirty work. My emasculating 12-pound dog.
So we've talked about all the fun, good stuff about the Saints game, but
now let's talk about the offense.
Yes, they were there. They did football-type activities. Jesus Christ, the penalties. I mean, have the Saints ever been in the most penalized team in the Sean Payton era?
Usually not.
I mean,
are they high right now? I mean, they have to be, but
they're the third most penalized team. That was going into this weekend, and I know they didn't drop. And they had the third most points lost to penalties.
So the Saints have the fourth.
Right now.
The Saints have the fourth most penalties in the league. You want to know who number one is?
It's got to be like the Raiders, right?
Go ahead and
Cowboys.
Go ahead and roll the clip.
Oh,
Ralph.
the Falcons. It's the Falcons.
Go ahead and roll the clip.
28-3. Bryant knocks it through. Arthur Blank loving it. Up by 25.
Dude, the Falcons have 42 penalties in 4 games. 42.
Jesus Christ.
42?
42. I mean, how many offensive plays do you get in a game?
60?
On a good week, 60, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's like gee. So how many? I mean, that's like what? That's like 20% of their plays.
My God. Like, that makes the Saints look downright like a well-oiled machine on offense.
17% of their plays are penalties. One in every 5.
God. Are we sure Dan Quinn's even making it to the Texans game?
Well, you didn't. If you fire the coach, you got to do it today. You can't wait till the middle of the week, right? It was either last night after the game or today. That's it.
He's safe.
But I mean, Head coach Dirk Cutter will be amazing. It won't last, but it'll be amazing the rest of the way.
I'm probably gonna follow like 6 more Falcons accounts if that happens.
brother, here's the thing. Here's the thing. They're not going to fire him for the rest of the year. Like they're going to ride and die with Dirk Cutter as the head coach.
Maybe they bring back like Dan Reeves as like a caretaker coach for the half of the year.
Is he still alive?
Somebody Wikipedia Dan Reeves quick.
Yeah, please.
But the best part about when they fire Dan Quinn, which they will be firing him during this year, is it reopens the 28-3 wound all over again. And I'll just
to make it 28-3. Bryant knocks it through. Arthur Blank loving it. Up by 25.
We are terrible
That's
people.
stupid. I can see Arthur Blank doing that stupid fucking dance in the skybox. You rich old twat.
He's probably down on the field because he thought they were going to win.
No, he was in the box
in
for
the
that.
skybox. He was doing some weird fucking like almost. It looked like a weird hula type dance, but he was making fists. It was so weird.
You know,
old hack.
Not that I feel like I didn't sense that Saints Twitter is clamoring for Taysom Hill as much as I thought they might. But there is a sense that Saints Twitter is greatly frustrated / displeased with Teddy Bridgewater. But after seeing him for 2.5 games, Dave, basically, what is your realistic expectation of Teddy Bridgewater the next 3 to 4 weeks? Like when you go to the game on Sunday, what are you saying to yourself? This is what I expect of Teddy Bridgewater.
I mean, I really don't expect much. If we're just talking about Bridgewater as a replacement for Drew, this season while he heals, and we're not talking about, next year Teddy Bridgewater or Drew's heir apparent Teddy Bridgewater. By the way, it's 2-0 Teddy. His nickname is 2-0 Teddy. But I'm happy with him being, in this moment and for these weeks while Drew heals. I really don't care as long as he wins. But my expectations aren't that high. I mean, I think that for the Saints to keep winning, I mean, I think it's going to require, the defense might not have to play as well as they did last night moving forward, but they're going to have to still play pretty damn good to keep the Saints in it because, I mean, if they can clean up the offense, the false start shit, the offensive penalties. I mean, how many times were they starting drives 1st and 20 or whatever? I mean, if they can clean that up, that's going to be a big help. That's going to be a big help to the offense in general and for Teddy.
Skook says they should just leave the flag on the ground.
Yeah, I mean,
so they don't have
Jesus
to pick
Christ.
it up.
Yeah.
Is it kind of like when I think it's kind of like when my wife goes out of town.
My wife.
And I'm responsible for the house, and it's just like I just need to make sure the dog's fed, the kids are fed, that they're in bed at a decent hour, and that the house doesn't burn down. And like their entertainment, my kids' entertainment is totally secondary. Like I'm hanging on for dear life here.
Kids,
so,
it's an iPad night.
Yeah. Right? So it's kind of like that. We don't want, Teddy, just don't burn the house down, We're going to get the love and care that we need when Drew Brees comes back, and the offense will be sexy again, and Austin Carr might even make some plays, but until then, let's stay in our lane.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as expectations, first of all, I have Will Lutz on my fantasy football team, and he's looking real good right now. If Will Lutz is available in your fantasy league,
the kick is up.
if Lutz is available, in your league, I would pick him up because I mean I think they're going to be kicking a lot of field goals. I think you're going to see a lot of this red zone issues and stall drives and that kind of stuff. But I mean I do expect them to get at least one touchdown a game, or maybe even 2 touchdowns if maybe Kamara breaks one loose like he did in Seattle, or or just something happens. But I mean, obviously we're not, everybody said it, this isn't any secret, Teddy's not making too many of downfield throws. He had a great one. He did a great back shoulder throw to Mike Thomas right in front of me last night.
On the opening drive.
Was that early? I thought it was.
Yeah. First drive of the game.
Okay. Well,
first Saints possession.
Then he might have done 2, because I thought there was another one later in the game. But I mean, he can make these throws. I don't know whether it's game plan and whether they don't want him to make these throws, or he still just is not totally comfortable.
Well, hold on. Let's remember when the Saints played the Cowboys last year and they lost whatever. I mean, it was the exact same game. The score was different, and Dallas won instead of the Saints, and it was in Dallas instead of New Orleans, but it was basically the same game. And Ezekiel Elliott couldn't get anything going on the ground. Dak Prescott was largely horrible. The Saints couldn't move the ball, and Dallas won the game 13-10. Okay? And in that game, and I'm not saying that Teddy Bridgewater is Drew Brees. Obviously, he's not. But in that game, Brees was 18 of 28 for 127 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 pick. He was awful in that game. Mm-hmm. The Saints couldn't run the ball. And besides Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara, which combined to make 13 of the 18 catches that the Saints had, they threw 1 catch to Keith Kirkwood, 2 to Dan Arnold, and 2 to Mark Ingram. And that's it. And I just want to point out, and we felt this at the end of last year, this offense outside of Thomas and Kamara is pretty bad. And Traquan Smith is hurt, and Kirkwood is done for the year. So now you're down to the Austin Carrs and the little Jordan Humphreys of the world. No offense, Dave, but those guys aren't making any plays. And I think there's a reality here that hey, if this
Austin
offensive
Carr
line,
is the white Tommy Lee.
I mean, if this offensive line is getting hit for holding calls every other play and it's 1st and 20, I don't care if it's Brees or Bridgewater, but this offense doesn't have enough. And Jared Cook was supposed to be this fancy free agent signing that was going to fix this offense. And obviously he's way more Kobe Fleenery than any of us ever dreamed he would be. And so I feel like we're back at square one here. And it's just a Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara. And if those guys make a play, great. And otherwise, no one else is stepping up and doing anything.
Yeah, I agree. This game felt like a lot of the games late last season when they were having the same issues. And they were having those issues with Drew. So,
yes.
I think what Andrew is saying is this might not be a Teddy problem. This might be a whole offense problem.
Well, I think.
I'm not saying Teddy's great, but how many? If Brees was struggling with these guys against similar quality opponents, then at what point do we need to shine the light on the fact that whoever the quarterback is matters less than we need another receiver?
It's time to go full Loomis and they need to pester John Elway. Mickey Loomis needs to have, if he hasn't left a dozen voicemails on John Elway's cell phone asking about Emmanuel Sanders, he's not Loomising correctly. That is a fact. But Kevin, to the point of the Saints offense struggling, I was the fantasy analysts / nerds. They hate Taysom Hill getting the ball at all. And I was thinking today that as the Saints struggle more in the red zone, do you think Sean Payton will be more apt to get, I don't know what the word, get weirder with Taysom Hill in the red zone because he's got to figure out a way to score touchdowns on the rare chances the Saints get in the red zone?
No, I think Sean Payton's – I can't believe I'm saying this. I feel like Sean Payton is actually maybe trying to protect Taysom Hill a little bit. He ran fewer offensive plays. for him because, you know, he's the only other backup quarterback on the fucking roster. And maybe that's what some people don't seem to understand. And then they'll trot out he's on special teams.
Only 4
And
plays,
like,
though,
yeah,
on special teams.
right.
Only punt
Right.
protector.
Right. And, I mean, how many I'm sure somebody who looks at the all 22 tape or whatever the fuck could tell you, well, how many times is he actually involved in contact on those punt plays? I'm sure it's not all of them. So, you know, I think Sean Payton is surprisingly,
he's morphing into Jim Mora before our eyes.
Right. Like he's you know, he's I think managed to pull his head out of his ass on most fuck, what the hell am I saying? I'm rambling. He's managed to just pull his head out of his own ass and not get too cute.
Well, I mean, you say that, but then they ran the flea flicker with Latavius Murray, and they did the jet sweep.
Teddy
with,
Bridgewater throwing a 7-yard pass on a flea flicker is the most Teddy Bridgewater thing ever.
Yeah,
the 7-yard dart.
Just how they drew it up, the 7-yard flea flicker. But
I forgot about. Me and my buddy were saying the same exact thing when it happened. We were like, "Yep, just like they drew it up."
Yeah. Yeah,
when you do the flea flicker, you really want.
They ran the jet sweep with Deontay Harris, and Taysom got a couple carries. So I don't think Peyton was necessarily being that conservative. I think he just doesn't have any playmakers.
Conservative. I just think he was being smart in how he was trying to he was limiting what he was doing with Taysom Hill just because he was the backup.
Yeah. I mean, I think, maybe he opens it up if he's down 14-0 because he has to, but when his defense is getting that many stops, he's like, look, I'm not going to put myself in a position where I'm turning the ball over inside our 30. Like, we're just going to punt if we have to. And that's.
Maybe I phrase it wrong. Maybe not necessarily more volume with Taysom Hill. He did have 10 plays, right? It would just be Sean Payton with those 10 plays. They would be all red zone, and they would get really weird.
Shouldn't we call up Emmanuel Butler, and just see what happens?
Oh. I forgot he was even alive. Raise your hand in the chat room if you forgot Emmanuel Butler was even alive.
Mostly because he's been outshadowed by Lil Jordan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I need Little Jordan to catch a pass, or I need Granderson to get a sack. I need this to happen just for the show. How many plays did your son get in?
I forgot. I don't know, but he actually I can look it up, but he drew a penalty. So, right? Is that what happened?
He did not.
What did he do? Didn't he do something in the game?
No, I just texted you that they should have thrown a flag because.
Oh yeah,
it was just a contested catch. And
that's right. They should
that any good receiver makes, and Little Jordan did not make.
But then I said he's already getting fucked over by the refs. He's officially a saint. Team. So I win over Granderson. I win.
No. Hey, Granderson got some snaps, baby.
It's true. It's true.
I forgot.
It took 7 defensive ends getting injured, but he was on the field.
I drink when I go to the night games.
Surprisingly.
Soccer.
So, before we get to the questions, if you have any questions in the chat.
Hold on. One thing I want to ask. So, at Seattle is a difficult assignment, and that was Bridgewater's first game. So I give him a pass for that. We know Drew with basically the same offense and against the same defense struggled mightily last year. So I almost want to give Teddy a pass for this game because of how bad the offensive line played and all the penalties and everything. But now the Saints go up against Tampa, and the Rams just hung up 40 on them. Now, I know it was a 55-40 game, and the Rams lost, but the Rams put up 40 points on this defense. I know their front is pretty good, but their corners are garbage, correct?
Correct. They are 30th in points and 20th in yards allowed.
Yeah, so I want to go back to your original question here, Ralph, and I think this is a fair one. Like, shouldn't we expect more out of Teddy this week based on playing at home and the degree of difficulty going down significantly?
Oh, I think so for sure. And the thing that I wanted to point out is Bill Barnwell today, he listed the issues that the top teams in the NFC had. And he was talking about Bridgewater, and he was saying, the difference between Breeze and Bridgewater's their passes in the air are not that significantly different. The difference is Drew Brees' passes, like 70% of them, even though they were shorter, they were only 7 point whatever yards. The majority of them went for first downs, and he was saying how Teddy's only like 20% of them go for first down. And I thought of that, I was like, oh, that's really bad. And then I thought, well, of course Teddy's 7-yard passes aren't going for a first down, because every time he's got first and fucking 20. So, it's
Do you think maybe part of it is like Breeze is locating the ball a little bit better, so there's more yak? Is that possible?
I think that's part of it too. I just think the days of down and distance for the Saints not mattering, like it's 2013 or early last year or 2011, like those days are done, and they need to help Bridgewater more. And also too, Dave, I get this sense with Bridgewater, like sometimes I just wish he would just decide to run. He seems very indecisive on what he wants to do when there's a 10, 15-yard run to be had, and he just do it. Just run and then slide and take it. I feel like a lot of times he's indecisive about throw or run.
Every time he runs and gets a huge gain, it's called back for a hold. Every single time. It's unbelievable.
I agree with you, Ralph. There's a number of times where he starts running out of the pocket, he starts running forward, but he's still looking for that pass, and he's still pump faking, and then he'll keep running a little bit further, and it's at that point where you're like, you might as well just run, because you're almost at the line of scrimmage anyway. You're not even going to be able to pass the ball anyway, and he's still still standing tall and looking for a potential pass, and maybe even pull back and then pass. And I agree with you, Ralph. It's just like just run the damn ball. And I just actually did some quick research, because somebody in the chat, Crescendo, he wanted to know how many receiving yards do Saints receivers not named Michael Thomas or Ted Ginn, how many do they have? And I actually had it pulled up, so I looked it up. So actually, Kamara is actually the team's second leading receiver. So Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, and Ted Ginn, the three of them combined, they combined for 695 yards, and the rest of the team combined for 248. So you're talking more than 2/3 of your offense, passing offense, going through three players, one of whom is a running back.
Ugh. All right. So
it's too bad Traquan got hurt, man, because I do feel like he was kind of cracking the code a little bit.
He was a nice little addition to the Saints, my Saints adult auction league team. I thought there was a 5-minute window this Sunday where Mariota was tearing the Falcons up and I was winning in fantasy. That of course didn't happen, and I ended up losing 110-55. But there was like a 3-minute window where I was ahead because of Mariota, so I'd like to thank him for that. All right, we got questions before we get to our Saints Tampa Bay pick. Kevin, this is from Andy. If we combine the parts of linebackers Kiko Alonso and Alex Anzalone to form a super linebacker named Alakiko Alalonzazone,
I think,
how good would that linebacker be?
Shouldn't it be Anzalonzo?
Yeah. Say that name again, Ralph.
Alakiko Alalonzazone? See, Andy, you just made that name up so I would butcher it.
Yeah.
You're probably in the
Well
chat
done.
room laughing at me right now.
Well done.
You've been trolled.
Andy, I said when we got to 500 subscribers that we would give away 2 extra large T-shirts. That question wins you the T-shirt for question of the day.
Also, Ralph, didn't you love Anzalone's hair and you think Kiko Alonso is very attractive? So
They are. Both are true.
The combination there is just.
I mean, the combination would melt your TV set is what it would do. Like,
Yeah,
just,
I mean, you're looking at the cover of
You
some-
wouldn't need
of
any
some
blue chew,
Velvets.
that's for sure.
no, I'll just be a puddle. I'll just be a puddle. The football erotica will just ooze out of the TV set and overwhelm me. Kiko Alonso's a good-looking man. What can I say? All right.
Flash fiction.
Eddie LeBreton in the chat room. I love how the fictitious linebacker name formed like Voltron just to fuck with Ralph.
This is from Cody, Kevin. How bad will Saints Twitter and the media meltdown against Tampa be if the Saints score on every drive, but every drive ends in a field goal? That'd be something.
If the Saints win, then yeah. If not, they'll just dismiss the team and say whatever. But if the Saints somehow win the game, actually, shit. Let's get cute and say that there's a defensive, like a pick six or a fumble recovery for a touchdown. So let's say there's a touchdown that way, but the offense doesn't score a single touchdown. So let's go. Let's say 16 points. Let's say the Saints score 16 points and somehow still win.
Well, no, they'd need to score a bunch. If they scored on every drive, but it was all field goals, that'd be like 6 or 7 field goals, though, right? So you'd have to get in Will Lutz would have to be 7-7, and then you add the defense. Then you're talking 28 points,
Okay,
If he's available in your fantasy league, pick him up, people. I'm telling you right now, pick up Will Lutz.
You know what the greatest thing about that Dallas Cowboys game is that all the anti-Teddy people after that Seattle game were like, well, he's not going to have a game every week where special teams and defense both score a touchdown. And basically the Saints came out and they said, oh, yeah, you think that's funny? Well, you know what we're going to do this week? We're going to win without scoring a touchdown at all.
Eat it! Eat it, nerds!
Next week, we're going to win without scoring any points.
Dude,
go fuck yourself.
Do you realize we are what? We are 2 or 3 weeks. We are 3 weeks away from Chase Daniel and Teddy Bridgewater facing off in Chicago.
God. Wow.
I called it.
Kevin, in that game, first team to 6 or 10 wins. Which one is it?
Might be 6.
2-0. 2-0. Cam Jordan sack in the end zone for a safety.
2-0 in a monsoon in Chicago. God.
Trubisky, Bridgewater. It's a clash.
Sign me up for that, by the way.
Yeah, I'd rather play Trubisky, to be honest with you. Chase Daniel will probably light us up.
No kidding. Trubisky is fucking terrible. If you combine Trubisky and the quarterback of Buffalo, they still wouldn't equal one Billy Joe.
Wait, who's the quarterback in Buffalo now?
Josh Allen. Well, no, they have Josh Allen got hurt, so it's Matt Barkley.
Barkley, right?
Yeah. I forgot he was in the league.
Fredo keeps asking. I feel like we got to answer Fredo's question. He's one of our greatest fans.
Yeah, he'll be back. Congratulations to you, Fredo. He went all in on the Lions in the gambling show last Friday. He went.
Nope. That's Dylan.
I'm sorry, Dylan.
Completely different guy.
Anyway, Fredo Federico, he knows.
That just shows you how much Ralph really cares about all of you guys.
Yeah. So Fredo Rico, you asked about Armstead. Was that the worst game he's ever played? Yes. The answer is yes. It was awful. I don't know
He's played
what
on
the
one
hell
leg
that
multiple times and looked better.
Yes. I don't know what his deal was, but I mean, Robert Quinn was on fire. What are you gonna do?
All right. So thanks everybody for the question, Andy. I'll get you a DM and Twitter. We'll get you your extra large T-shirt.
Slide into these DMs.
Slide into the DMs. So Dave, before we make the pick on the Saints game, if people wanted to gamble and win lots of money because they listened to the Friday Gambling Show where we were handing out winners like candy, if they wanted to gamble online, where should they go?
If you're going to gamble, if you're going to start picking winners, you might as well be betting on them. And if you're betting on them, you might as well go to MyBookie. It's fast, it's easy, and they pay when you win. Let's face it, where you're betting is just as important as who you're betting on. And if you're like me, the kind of guy that likes to bet a little and win a lot, you don't want to risk too much, but you still want that big payday, try a parlay. If all your picks come through, you multiply your winnings. And no matter how you bet, the NFL season is the best time of year to do it. So join now, and MyBookie will double your first deposit. Use promo code CHAIR to activate the offer. That's promo code CHAIR. So visit mybookie.ag today. You play, you win, you get paid.
Nice. I feel like we should have Dylan, Federico, and Fredo both on the show Friday.
Why?
Just so Ralph can confuse them and have no idea who's talking.
I hate you. Hate you, Jude.
Fredo, I hope you're available Friday. We want you to join us. Dylan, too. Both. Dylan, Fredo, Rico.
Jerk face. That's what you are. Before we get to the picks, you should sign up for the Saints Happy Hour daily podcast. Do it. It's only $10 a month. You get a podcast every day, and you get Andrew's grades, and you get the grades podcast. It's amazing. Do it. My kid needs braces.
Oh yeah, wait. I wanted to plug. I forgot.
Yes, Dave, plug your kid's raffle.
Well, first of all, thanks to Andrew. Andrew stepped up. Andrew laid down $100 supporting the kids. He's supporting the kids. Laid down $100. I'm running my son's school. We have a golf tournament, a charity golf tournament every year. We're having it at Audubon uptown. I am in charge of running it this year. I'm the chairman. Don't ask me why I sign up for this stuff.
If it was a tennis tournament, I would have dropped 200.
Yeah. And so we're playing on November 1st. LSU has a bye. The Saints have a bye. It's Tulane's homecoming. I'm sure most of you don't care about that, but I care. But November 1st, we're having a golf tournament, and throughout the day, we're doing a drawdown raffle. We have 100 spots to fill. We're already got about half of it filled. Andrew's one more. $100. The winner gets $5,000. A cool $5,000 in cash. You will get it.
Pay that man his money.
This is a 50-50 raffle, but we're only doing 100 spots. So every time you're in, you got a 1% chance of winning. It's not like, the 50-50 they do at the Dome where there's like 500,000 numbers and your chance is so minuscule. So if you're interested, if you like gambling, if you're a degenerate, if you like me, if you want to help out my kid's school or whatever, just contact me on Twitter or whatever. You can Venmo the money. You don't need to be there to win, and you'll have a chance to win $5,000.
Yeah, and Dave will give me the link. The link will be in the
link, yeah.
podcast description on our night.
Come on, level with us, Dave. This is for your porch renovation, isn't it?
I have a new construction house, so fortunately I have nothing on my house that needs any renovating. Knock on wood.
Yet.
No, this is legit. This is legit. There are a lot of uptown. That's a good soundbite. We've got a lot of movers and shakers in the uptown New Orleans community that are taking part in this raffle. So,
That was oddly topical soundbite by well executed. I can't believe it.
It's a miracle. It'll happen again in the middle of October. So, Saints, a 4.5-point favorite against the 2-2 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If the Saints win, they can be 2 games clear in the NFC South of at least Tampa. Kevin, who do you have Sunday in the Dome?
Man, it's like I picked the Saints to lose the last 2 weeks. And it's like, do I? Well, okay, I thought they were going to lose those two.
And
Oh man, I don't want to jinx them.
It's okay. I'll fall on that sword.
I need to Chucky theme.
No, I really think the Saints are going to win this. Because just if you'd have said it was at Tampa, I might have just flipped the other way. But I think being at home again, I think that'll give them the edge. So I will go Saints 17, Bucks 13. Yeah.
Who's MVP?
No. How are the refs going to fuck the Saints this week?
Right. They are going to declare that Bridgewater was not throwing a pass and that something really was a fumble, when in fact he was trying to throw a pass.
I like it. So, Dave, who you got?
Okay. So, after Teddy B and 2-0 Teddy 2 times, I'm gonna go get the papers. He's after winning 2 games. I think we're gonna come back down to earth and we're gonna lose this one. I hate to say it. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. But we're gonna lose.
It would be quite Saintsy.
Yeah. No, you've got it. There's no way you cannot expect the Saints to win this game after pulling these last 2 out of their ass. It's just not possible. It goes against you're ignoring history at that point. You're ignoring factual historical evidence. So I'm gonna say, but the defense will still play well, but just no offense. Just cannot get it going. I'm gonna say Saints lose 17-9, and the refs are. This is going to be unbelievable. Here we go. In the modern age of cameras, they're going to call a field goal that went through and was good. They're going to call it no good.
Didn't you predict that last week?
No.
Just stick with it.
No
keep doing it, Dave.
No, I think
it'll happen like 2025.
Yeah, I said that.
Okay.
Oh, Kevin said that? Oh, well, then that's lame.
You just copied Kevin.
No, I didn't even know that. But no, that's lame. I'm changing mine then. No, I can't be a copycat. That's fucking lame.
It's not if you believe it.
I'll say they give Jameis Winston a touchdown when it shouldn't have been a touchdown. Like a rushing touchdown.
Andrew, who you got?
Well, let's see. Before the game, the Bucks are gonna be looking for a team meal, and they'll go to, I don't know. For those of you from Metri, Dave is a Metri guy now. They're gonna go to Chef Ron's. I don't know if you've been there yet, Dave, but Chef Ron has some good gumbo in Metri.
That's hilarious. I actually just went and picked up food from Chef Ron's on Friday for the first
good
time
stuff,
ever.
Right?
It was good. Well, I got it was good. I got the
Podcast available to be sponsored.
It was like it was blackened chicken over like linguine pasta. It was
Oh, you didn't get the gumbo?
No, I didn't get any gumbo.
You got to get the gumbo there. Well, anyway, so Jameis Winston is gonna steal some of their gumbo because it has crab legs in it, and he's gonna get arrested and he's gonna miss the game. And former Tulane Green Bean, Ryan Griffin, is going to start the game.
Oh, there we go. I like
Winston arrested, and he is going to light up the Saints. I'm picking them to lose again because right now the Saints, they keep winning, and I keep picking them to lose. So I'm going to fall on that sword for you guys, and I have decided that I will embarrass myself into infinity and continue to shame myself and embarrass myself so that the Saints can keep winning, since that's obviously how this is going down. So 34-17, easy win for the Bucs. They stroll into New Orleans with their backup quarterback Ryan Griffin, and Teddy Bridgewater is awful, and we lose our first place in the division by tiebreak.
I feel like everyone is picking against the Saints because you look at it and you're like, of course the Saints lose this game. It's the most Saintsy thing ever. We can see it coming a mile away, and everybody's picking against the Saints except Kevin on this show, but Saints Twitter, everyone's going to pick against them. And I picked against them in my column that'll run on Thursday for WWL, but I think I'm changing my mind now. You can't predict the Saintsiness. It needs to happen after Teddy Bridgewater looks fucking amazing, and he hasn't looked amazing yet. I'm saying Saints 35-10. Saints 35-10.
Wow. So you like Teddy having a big game?
I like Teddy having a huge game, 325-3. He's going to look amazing. And the crash and disappointment and the Saintsiness comes the next week. The Saintsiness, the Saints, it needs to come when we least expect it. And if we're all expecting it this week, it's not going to come. You know? That's my prediction. How the Saints will get fucked by the refs, they're not going to get fucked by the refs. It's going to be a romp. That's what it's going to be. There's going to be the Tampa is going to get screwed on a play where Teddy's going to fumble the first series, and it should be a fumble, but they're going to blow it dead, and it's not going to be a touchdown for Tampa, and the Saints are going to roll from there. That's my prediction. How about that?
Man, I'm telling you, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with the Panthers, obviously, and we'll keep an eye on that, but if the Saints win this game, and that puts them at 4-1, that drops Tampa to 2-3. And, man, I just feel like now you're, 3 weeks away from getting Breeze back, and you've got a 2-game lead on the division. Man, I don't know if they can do it again this week and go 3 in a row with Bridgewater, but if they pull this off, man, it would just set up almost impossible. It would just, in our wildest imagination and dreams, I don't think we could have concocted a better scenario. Seriously, and if this happens, man, like maybe this is a team of destiny.
They win, Atlanta, Carolina lose, Dan Quinn gets fired. What a way to start October! Just phenomenal. So,
I'll say this: when we right before the season started and we made our season predictions, I said that I didn't think it was going to be hard to repeat last year because there was a lot of just good luck and karma and destiny and fate and all that, and we got a lot of good bounces. And then we started the season off with Houston, and I said, well, shit, that was exciting, and that was unexpected.
It's true.
And Breeze goes out, and we're still winning in Seattle. We're still winning in Dallas without scoring touchdowns. I got to say, so far, I was totally wrong. This season still is filled with magic and wonder and excitement. And the sky is the limit. Totally.
14-2 is still in play. So my
totally in play. 15-1 is still in play technically.
Yes. So that's a good way to end the show, though. So thanks to everybody in the chat room for joining us. We appreciate it. It's always fun to have you guys. Remember to sign up for the Daily Show. It's amazing. Me and Andrew work very hard on it. The audio quality from my car is perfect. So that wraps it up.
That's a joke, right?
Yeah. So for Andrew, for Dave,
it's called sarcasm.
For Kevin, until next week, the bar is closed.
And NFL refs suck.